What's up guys, Everything Apple Pro here, and a lot of people are going to be making a difficult decision, choosing between the Samsung Galaxy S7 and the iPhone 6s. With this video, my goal is to make that decision easier for you. I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know when considering between these: speed, camera, features, everything. So I've made an S7 Edge versus 6s Plus video. I think this one is certainly worth watching even if you've seen that one. I'll be touching more on the cameras, the speed, and the individual features. This is no easy choice to make, so like always, I'll try and keep my opinion out of it. You came here to decide on your own based on the facts, not on my opinion, so let's keep it that way. Samsung Galaxy S7 versus iPhone 6s, fight. So let's touch on design and form factor. The S7 and 6s are more closely related in size than the S7 Edge and 6s Plus were. So these things are very similar in terms of form factor. However, the iPhone 6s is still the smaller of the two, and that's because it features a smaller display. I'm still a little impressed how the S7 can manage to stuff a huge display into it without necessarily getting too much bigger. So in terms of actual size, these aren't very far off, although the iPhone 6s is the slightly smaller, slimmer, and lighter one. The button and port placement will be familiar to anyone immediately shifting from either Samsung to Apple, both very familiar and usable in this day and age. And I just want to touch on Apple's attention to detail. Apple is always focused on making things look good before improving their function. Samsung is completely the opposite, and it shows in the actual evenness of the ports. If you're at all OCD, once you notice this, you can't unnotice it. Look at the ports. On the iPhone, you can run a line straight through it. On the Galaxy, things are all over the place. And this is Apple's attention to detail. They make sure everything looks absolutely perfect in these small areas most people wouldn't even notice. Of course, this doesn't matter in the scheme of things, really, at all. I just wanted to bring this point up. Now, getting into comfort, the iPhone 6s has always been a comfortable phone. I could almost use it one-handed, but there's some areas of the screen you can't entirely reach. On the S7, Samsung's went and gone and make this thing very, very comfortable by curving the rear. Just like we saw originally on the Note 5, this thing conforms to your hand very nicely. It sits nice in your hand, and with that new split screen, feature, you can do a lot more with just one hand. Good work, Samsung. We use our phones with our fingers a lot, so it's important to have a fingerprint resistant display. Both do have coatings that prevent fingerprints from showing as badly, but the iPhone 6s, appears just a little bit worse after touching with fingerprints. Taking a look at the displays, there is a massive difference here, not only in size, but in tech as well. There's a 4.7 inch on the iPhone 6s and a 5.1 on the S7. That extra screen size definitely comes in handy. Not only is it a sharper display, it's better in sunlight, it's more efficient thanks to Super AMOLED technology. They both have great viewing angles, both are visible in sunlight, but the S7 is going to do a little bit better in sunlight. It's the actual colors and deep dark color reproduction where the S7 outshines the iPhone 6s. Now, both are good, really. These are two of the best smartphone displays on the market now, but the S7 is just that much better. It's like when your substitute teacher gives you an A+ instead of the A you regularly get. And this is one area where you just can't argue. This isn't opinion. This isn't how I'm feeling about the Galaxy. It's just better. Really, you pick one up compared to an iPhone, it's gonna look better, especially when watching movies, playing games that are specifically suited for those juicy colors. S7 is really going to shine. So I just want to make sure you guys know that. The iPhone 6s is good. The S7 is just amazing. So the displays, both fantastic. Can't complain on either one. There are no issues for me. So jumping into screen technology. The S7 unfortunately doesn't come with its big brother's Edge display, so it's pretty much a normal display. On the iPhone 6s, you still have 3D touch, and it's been discussed so many times. There's a lot you can do with it. It's debatable whether or not how useful it is, but when it comes to actual durability, both phones are amazing. The S7 and iPhone 6s can both survive regular day falls without the need of a case. I tested this extensively, and both will do great if you're a nudist, if you like to use your phone without a case. The S7, of course, has the added benefit of being water resistant. IP68 rating. The iPhone 6s definitely cannot compete with this. You need a case for it to go in the water. Something definitely anybody should consider. Of course, you also have that micro SD removable memory, something the iPhone cannot compete with either. It's awesome to be able to upgrade your own memory. So what's inside these guys? Both of these phones are massively more powerful than their predecessors. The iPhone 6s has the Apple A9 chip, 1.8 gigahertz dual core with 2 gigs of RAM. It doesn't seem like much. This thing is a powerful performer when actually using it. The Galaxy S7 has that new quad-core Cryotech Qualcomm CPU and GPU combo. It's actually being used a lot by many phones released nowadays, and it fixes the famous overheating issue that the 810 had. And here are the results of the Geekbench. So the iPhone 6s put in a very valiant effort. The S7, of course, outperformed it using newer technology. I get a lot of comments on this channel, why don't you compare the iPhone 7 to this? Well, you do realize that one of these phones will always be half a year behind than the other. So moving on, here is the Antutu benchmark as requested. The iPhone 6s did a little bit better than the Samsung Galaxy S7. And running the GFX benchmarks, the iPhone 6s had higher numbers. Now, in my last video, I didn't really touch on this, but I wanted to mention why this is. The Samsung Galaxy S7 has a much larger resolution to push. That means gaming and rendering will require a greater effort. So the numbers might not look impressive, but they actually are more impressive than the iPhone 6s. The 6s doesn't have as many pixels. And how does the performance actually reflect in real life? So this is very light stuff like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Actually loading it, after we get through all this, loading the actual game, turns out that the iPhone 6s loads it just a little bit faster. And the single core score is higher on the 6s. And because of that, the iPhone 6s has a small advantage. You'll notice a little bit better loading times for heavy applications. Most apps aren't optimized for multi-core use, so single core score will actually be a little bit better for day-to-day usage on the iPhone 6s. So I just did a little bit of comparisons for light applications, things we're going to be using in our day-to-day life. Not everybody loads, huge games every day, but the iPhone 6s and Galaxy S7 both do good. The 6s in most areas has a half a second advantage to the S7, and for most people that won't matter. Operating temperatures under normal to heavy load on the S7 aren't as bad as the S7 Edge, still a little bit warmer by several degrees than the iPhone 6s. Wireless capabilities pretty close on these phones. The S7 has the advantage of having a higher theoretical download speed. Most carriers don't even support that yet, but the iPhone 6s makes for a better international and traveling phone. And of course, on stock browsers, I tested the HTML5 compatibility scores, the S7 doing better. Now, testing the actual website load times, they were both pretty close. The S7 loaded better in one time, the iPhone 6s on the other, and by a wide margin. So really, it just depends on the website. Most cases, you won't notice a difference on either one. An area where the iPhone 6s could certainly use some expertise from the Galaxy S7 battery. The battery shrunk from the iPhone 6 to 6s. From the S6 to S7, it increased. The S7 battery is almost double the capacity of the iPhone 6s. Not only that, it has an ultra power saving mode, which turns your device into a battery sipping machine. There's ultra power saving mode, quick charge 2.0, and wireless charging. Alright, let's test the Touch ID sensor versus Samsung's fingerprint reader. And from a black display, just like the S7 Edge, the iPhone 6s does better. It jumps into the phone itself. Now, usability wise, the S7 is probably going to be the better one. The phone is usable faster after using the Touch ID sensor. From an actual bright screen, the S7 does better. I'd like to add though that in my experience, the 6s is the more accurate reader though. And speakers, the S7 for some reason was worse than the S7 Edge. Are they using different speaker modules? Topped out at 94 decibels, the 6s topped out much higher, but not that it was louder, the 6s sounded better. I'm not sure why that is. And so we arrive at the cameras. One area that's very important to me, I'm sure it's very important for you. Both have great cameras. The Galaxy S7 is definitely making a lot of claims. It does better in low light and the focus is better. So I decided to put that to the test with a much more extensive video test. And I apologize, it will be a little bit long, but I'm sure that's exactly what you guys need. So there's a lot to cover here. Samsung downgraded the camera from 16 to 12 megapixels in an effort to get better quality, better low light performance. There's some areas the S7 shines in, areas the 6s shines in. So pay attention. I want to start with video audio. So take a listen. So we can clearly hear that the 6s actually captures audio during video a little bit louder, a little bit clearer. I don't know why that is. It could be something to do with the waterproofing muting the audio. As for video quality, well, look at it yourselves. The colors are vibrant, clear. They're a lot more, noticeable on the S7. Now, some would argue that that's a little oversaturated, it's not true to life colors, and the 6S seems to do true to life a little bit better. When we look outside, we don't see the colors the way the S7 actually shows them, not in all cases. I'd say the 6S is more accurate, but if you're a dreamy person, you like to look back and imagine things better than they were, the S7 is definitely for you. In particular, the Samsung Galaxy S7 does very well at focus, but when actually focusing on smaller subjects, it seems to struggle. When there's something big in the picture, it focuses right away and a lot faster than the 6S, very noticeably indeed. The iPhone 6S doesn't come with optical image stabilization. That means when recording video, as can be seen here, I'm running. The Galaxy S7 has watchable video, the 6S is juddery and it just doesn't look very good. The digital image stabilization cannot compete with an optical image stabilizer in the sensor. And Samsung's brought up the S7 to spec of the iPhone in terms of slow motion. It can now capture 240 frames per second in 720p quality. The 6S still can do 1080p at 120, so there's a little advantage there. So which one is better? That's a tough choice to make. The iPhone picks up audio better during recording, the S7 has less shake. The iPhone has better true to life colors, the S7 has a wider angle, it can capture more. And let's take a look at photos. So I can really understand why some people would like the color capture on the S7. Things do look better looking back at them, but that's not how they really were. Overall though, in terms of photos, both do great. Really, even in low light, the iPhone 6S didn't do that much worse. The S7 was better in low light though. Color capture on both was good. As you can see, it's very comparable to each other. And let's not forget the iPhone 6S has live photos. So that means bringing your photos to life with a little bit of audio, a little bit of a video effect. It's really cool. The S7 has something similar, but only available in panorama. And something I don't want to forget to mention, the S7 camera protrudes less. Not a big deal, but it does protrude more on the 6S. Front-facing cameras are pretty similar, 5 megapixels. The Galaxy S7 can do higher resolution video though. It also has a wide angle lens, which can really be useful when capturing more friends in a selfie. The quality does look better on the S7. The 6S does have True Tone flash though, something the S7 doesn't, it just has regular flash. Alright, so wrapping this comparison up, the Galaxy S7 is priced very competitively to the 6S. It's actually just a little bit higher in price on average. It's different for every carrier, every contract situation, but you get more for your money in terms of storage on the S7. So all in all, the Samsung Galaxy S7 versus iPhone 6S, which is better? Well, take a look at these list of features I pretty much detailed. These are the main focus points I've noticed when comparing these devices. I mean, these are the things I look at, so just read through it and realize what's more important to you in a smartphone. These phones are always going to be half a year apart, so some features might be more distinct on one or the other, but the Samsung Galaxy S7 has a lot of good things going for it. There are many things that stand out to me about it, but really it just comes down to your preference. What stands out to you in a smartphone? But the S7, man, this thing is so capable. The iPhone 6S, I was very impressed for an S upgrade what Apple came up with, but the iPhone 7, that's going to be something special, and I cannot wait to compare these phones half a year from now. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I really had a great time making this video. It was very difficult to make, but hopefully it could make your decision easier choosing between them. Both great phones. Good luck picking one, but whichever choice you make, it will be a good one. Be sure to check out the stress tests on the Galaxy S7 and any other videos. Leave me a like if you appreciated this video. I would really appreciate it, and have a great day. Peace.